Hello and welcome to the Global AI Community event, our next event on AI Tech Day, deep dive on AI agents. And we are happy you are here. Thanks for joining us. And we are both here AI MVPs. And Jose, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Jose. I'm an AMVP based in Zurich. I work for Swiss Life, insurance and FSI sector. I have a hobby which is collaborating with the Microsoft Agentic frameworks to help them build them. So
Okay,
that's more or less in a nutshell.
that's great. So you're a developer and you're doing a lot of stuff on AI, also with product group with Microsoft on Microsoft Agent Framework, and that's cool. So my name is Alex. I'm Microsoft MVP and trainer for several years right now, and have a lot of certifications on Microsoft. And now we are talking about, as the MVPs, of course, about the agents in a moment. But first of all, what is global AI community? That's community around the globe, and we are the biggest AI community worldwide. There are more than 140, I think that's right now 160,000 members around the world already. And we have a lot of connected groups and meetups, and we have done a lot of events right now. That's perhaps nearly 5,000. We will catch 5K perhaps this year, perhaps next year, we will see. And the events there are happening since 2018. So first events from our sites were AI boot camps where we joined the local communities, and then we moved in the pandemic, of course, to online events. And right now we have both online events and also events that are happening in person and also online somehow. So there's one question, of course, if you see your city on the global AI chapters, there are several from the Germany, there are several from Switzerland, there are several from Austria, also Europe, worldwide. If you see your city there on the chapter, please join them. Be a speaker, be active, but if there's no chapter, you can create your own chapter, be a leader in your city, and that is our call to action directly right now in the first few minutes. Be one of us, learn about AI, of course, from the chapters. They are already there. They're streaming this for you. And also meet, find, join the chapters and be active, get involved and grow on AI stuff, because the technology is everywhere. Every time is changing. And what we also see with Jose together, we every time prepare something new for our next talk. And also from my side, I don't like to have one topic, perhaps Foundry somehow, and do the whole stuff the whole time. I try every single time something new, something from the preview, something for what is not perhaps ready for production, just to try and also provide feedback to Microsoft product group, but also know for the next step. And then I can prepare myself also to run into the products and know what is exactly will be the next step also from Microsoft when the service is going to be in production. So it's something like preparing myself for the production world. And of course, if you are on the chapter side, you can become a leader, as Jose is one from Zurich. And this is really cool that we have a lot of people who are joining us right now, also from the Zurich chapter. And we are happy you are here right now with us. Jose, you want to add?
Yeah, hey David and Hannah Gupta from Spain, cool home country. So I want to say that you're absolutely correct. It feels like we are living in the world of the eternal beta, right? Everything new is a new experiment, so it's kind of crazy what's going on with AI these days. It's every week we have the next a new super model ever, the best model, more intelligent ever. So it's well, kind of crazy to catch up.
But it is great that you already talk about the models. But I think that was not our first step. What we, if we continue on thinking of deep dive on AI agents, the model should be compared to the use case, something that
Hmm.
is somehow matches your use case. And but we will talk on this in a moment. I see the people from IT with France. That's really cool. Vienna, Spain, UK, Albania, Germany, and Belgium. Wow, that's
Hmm.
completely uh, also from France. Bonsoir, that's really cool. Thanks for joining and also for your comments. If you have some questions, you see this is live. We can just going for this Czech Republic. That is, we have a lot of people here. That is really cool. Italy.
Italy.
Wow,
Whoa.
ciao.
Come on,
But
Bulgaria. We don't have anybody from Switzerland. Come on, is anybody here from Switzerland? I live in
I,
Zurich, by the way. So
yeah, but
Germany,
there are
I feel alone
700
now.
people registered from Switzerland. I think there
Poland.
would be some people from Switzerland will be there. So let's talk about AI agents. If you are going for the Scotland, Portugal, Poland, Düsseldorf, wow, people, that's cool. Thank you. We have something like on our first step, what we see a lot, of course, in a Copilot, what Microsoft prepared of us. You can build a lot of agent from your business productivity and tell them what you need to do. That is something we can, of course, set up and provide to the people, going on the visibility and so on. On Copilot Studio, we can create our dialogues and then provide some agents through to whatever Copilot, to Teams and so on, to use them. But I think Jose, also myself, we are both in both way, but also here on the Foundry side and also on the model side, we can completely go into deep what is about the model, how can we run this one on the back end and so on. And perhaps you have heard of golden path of architecture. So somehow we are right now on Azure AI and on Microsoft Foundry. You can find the possibility, of course, to have some built-in AI tools, some agents you can provide here. You can choose your models. We will dive in a Microsoft Agent framework in a minute, but you see that Microsoft provides us something like, okay, where can we start? And the first, if you want to follow somehow the demos, what we will show right now, you can just create, we're just creating my next Foundry project. And then in the portal, you are ready to go. Not that fast, because Microsoft is going also to see, do we have a permissions to run our agent in some specific project? So you need an AI, Azure AI user role to run this. And then if you provided this, you are somehow ready to go. Now we are in portal. That is something what we see right now. You have a lot of course, models you can choose, but that is perhaps not our first starting point. Perhaps first of all, we need here something like requirements. What is the agent is going to do? Do we want something from healthcare? Do we want something from the agent to be on site somehow to answer questions right now and so on? So um, we want to talk about if you are going to map the design. That is one step. So we design our agent somehow. What is the purpose from this agent and what we need to go there? And when we develop this one, I like that we have Visual Studio here icon. So Jose, as a .NET developer, perhaps we like Visual Studio to see. Of course, you can start on Visual Studio Code. We don't care. That is something what you can just integrate. You build your project, you have to test this one, you run this, and you see that is something what I liked about these slides
I like how
on
you
this
say it,
perspective.
Alex. You build, you test, you run.
Yes, and then you measure. What I wanted to say here is you measure what kind of numbers do you have there, and perhaps we can show this one perhaps first on a Foundry level. So you have here your agent. You see we are on Microsoft Foundry. We selected one model because we do not care about this one, but then I can say something like hello, or perhaps also just say also in German, hello. You see, it's quite changes the language, and then how can I help you? That is the same, and do a deep dive on AI agents. Something like this. I just wanted to have some traces here. And you see the system interacts and has created some text and so on. So something like, that's great, it's working, it's live, and so on. So, and right now, what I'm care and that I liked also, it was our feedback to the product group. We want to see what exactly is happening on these agents. So something like, okay, we have some traces. We compare this one on messages like hello, what the first one, hello was the second one. The next one was about the deep dive on AI agents. You see here what we got and also what kind of metadata we put in, what kind of costs do we get, and so on. So every single time you see something, what is happening inside your agent. We will also show you one new framework from Jose in a moment, but then you can also do this one on the playgrounds here, and also about the evaluation. If you see, if you're going for the settings, you need something like an app insights, then you can see how does it work. And then in a minute, then I want to pass somehow to Jose also to talk about multi-agent systems. We will continue and also evaluate here, run some evaluation, continuous evaluation. So the first time what you see here, if I run this agent, I can run evaluations. I can create evaluations here, not only for agent, also for models, for the data set. But this is one-time evaluations. After I have created this one, I can easily go and provide also the information on continuous evaluations. That is something real cool to somehow also to build in, because it's not a one way here and that's it. You have also to rerun your testing, to rerun your monitoring the whole time. That is continuous integration. So we need perhaps then also, I have created one agent right now on Foundry.
I
What
think
is
we should,
about if I want to have
Alex,
multiple agents?
I think we should invent here a new term, agent development lifecycle, because agents
Mhm,
change, the prompt changes, the tools change, the
mhm,
MCP changes. So it becomes a lot more complicated than a simple software development lifecycle, right?
mhm. You have seen perhaps this one,
Mm-hmm.
that you map, you measure, you manage the whole time, and you see that there's a life cycle. That is
Yes.
GenAI developer life cycle the whole time. That's not even like if you are going for software engineering right now, as we have learned perhaps 20 years ago, to get your requirements, then to design, then to implement, to test, and that's it. That's not even the story right now. So I'll say we are going to show your screen perhaps.
Okay, 1 second. From current slide, let me prepare. So,
And now we are going to speak about the agent framework. So what is this?
yes, yes, we can talk a bit. So, who knows a bit the agent framework? Who has doing first some experience with it? Can you say, hey, me, or I play, or somebody has some work experience with it? I do not recommend. Well, now it's start to be better. Now it's release candidate
Mhm,
2. I think today they announced release candidate 3. I was speaking at the office hours just a moment ago. So if anybody is curious or working with it, I recommend you join the office hours. Mm-hmm. All right. So basically, it's an open source framework for next-gen multi-agent solutions to create agents, create workflows that use the agents. And but first of all, a question that everybody, well, probably you hear that. What is an agent, right? Agent is compound, a software construct, or a construct that uses an LLM as a brain, large language model, has instructions, can use tools like retrievals, actions, memory, can react on an input, system events, user messages, agent messages. So depends if it replies and reacts to user messages, then it's a reaction agent. If it reacts to other agents, it's a reaction agent as well, but integrated in an agentic workflow. If it reacts to system events like, oh, this happened and it's automatic, then it's an autonomous agent. And then it generates an output, which can be, hey, I give you another agent message, a tool result, or a message which is meant to be used by a human. So naturally is more or less this. I like to put it like a teeny little critter that they are limited at the moment in cognitive abilities. They can plan tasks, they can use tools like this banana, this little critter is using. And you can give it a persona, and LLMs are fantastic for this. So you can give it a personality or a characteristic. You can say, hey, you're an excellent consultant, and it will act like an excellent consultant. Sorry, Accenture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they are super good at role playing. So you can give them these and play around, and this makes a huge difference in prompting. By the way, I have a nice course on prompting in LinkedIn Learning, so check that out. Um, yeah, but like previous tools, agents can reason, act, and learn. There is a very nice paper called React, which is agents can also check and review their output, so they can self-check. It's not as good as other agent reviewing, but it helps a lot in increasing the accuracy of agents. That's a metric. And then most downstream processes still brittle and require meaningful human involvement. So we need this HITL, human in the loop. So yeah, that's it. So basically, we had some issues that everything starts in a prompt or form that require a user or maybe an AI to fill up, but we need to check this is error prone, or for example, teams must monitor RPA, robotic process automation processes, which can break because agents can only do so much, right? They're getting better, but LLMs at the moment, well, we have to tailor the agents to the capabilities of the LLM,
Mm-hmm.
and automation cannot self-heal or handle novel cases, so it's kind of complicated. We do that when you're an agentic engineer or AI engineer, however you want to call it, you have to develop like a sixth sense for it, right? But first of all, why should we use agentic AI? Let me put an example. The usual workflow when you go
We
to
have some
ChatGPT.
questions.
Sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We have some questions. If the recording will be available, yes, on the Global AI
Yeah.
community YouTube channel, this recording will be live directly after the session. And one question from Data Ravens, thank you very much. What actions does the agent perform in your example? Right now, we're talking about setting up the agents. That is something what we not explained right now, but in the backend, I
Mhm.
just grabbed the what Jose was saying on the instructions from my agent. I said, okay, you are excellent consultant. Let me help something on work. So you can do whatever you want. But in the first step, we just set up the agent right now. We talk about general things and then we are going deeper.
Good. All right. Then let's put another example. User workflow. You go to copilot.microsoft.com or any LLM provider, and you have a star. You give it a task, and it
Mhm.
does the task. Maybe it takes a while if it's reasoning, and then it gives you a result, which may be exactly what you want, or you may have to go through it again. And you iterate and you tell, hey, I wanted a summary or research on this, but I want this. Can you do it again? And you have to think the proper term in AI terms is alignment. You have to align it to what you want, right? And this takes time, your time, right? So yeah, that works, saves you time, but it takes your time as well. But we have agentic workflows, or also called agentic AI. You can ask, hey, write me a blog post about the global AI series of events, and usually it will need more information. It will write the starting draft as a draft, and you have to tell it, hey, consider what areas need revision, review for style, etc. But these things, you can automate them. How? using another agent. Whoa, who would have expected that? This comes from a paper. I think originally it's kind of an evolution of the original React paper, but using another agent, which improves like performance like 10 to 30%. Pretty cool, right? So you have one agent, which is a creator or the writer. If you are writing an article, you have the critic agent that will take the article generated, and this critic, which can be multi-critic, is checking, okay, is the style consistent? Is the style good? Is everything not hallucinated? And provide a set of critic outcome with recommendations for improving. And the creator takes the feedback back and upgrades and improves this. And this cycle continues. And the critic gives more feedback and so on. It can happen 2, 3, 4 times. I don't know. However they are necessary until it approves. At the end, you get something which is approve, check, triple check. So chances are that when you get to this finish of this workflow, things will be a lot better than using the normal workflow that you're using in these chat tools.
We have the next question. What is the
Does it make sense?
meta agent?
It depends. What do you mean? In what context? Yeah.
It could be
So hard
one
to respond.
general agent somehow. If you're running the multi-agent system, it could be one general agent that is sitting on top somehow to explain to you, okay, what kind of information do you need if you have multiple agents underneath for a specific task? By meta.
No. That's another
It's
person
not in it by
responding to
meta
that.
measure.
No. Usually, meta agent, as far as I understand, it would be an agent that can create other agents, right?
Yes.
So that's for me the understanding, and then it can save a lot of work. But yeah, at
Yeah,
the moment
the
I have seen.
general one, the one that can be used by another agent, but also you can perhaps
Mhm.
you meet
Yep.
this one like
So let's
one.
move forward. Unless
Yeah.
Victor, if you want to clarify a bit, what meta agent do you mean? That would be great.
Okay.
Otherwise, let's proceed. So this is a nice example of what I showed you before. They made in 2023, I believe. This was done by Andrew Ng. Uh, he is the mythic author of deep learning course in Coursera. I did that in 2014. It was super cool. I hated every bit of it because it was done in R. Later he changed to Python, but I had already done it, and I hate R. I don't know if anybody has used that, but I don't like it. Well, basically, it uses two models and compares them with zero shot. It gets 48% of accuracy in one benchmark. A benchmark is a set of challenges that measure the ability of a large language model to do something. In this case, is AgentEval, which is a coding benchmark, right? And GPT-4, the top tier model at the moment, was 67%. Ooh, that's spectacular. It's the best one to use, but wrong. What happens if we use Agentic AI, a workflow, iteration, and some tools in the lower tier model, GPT 3.5? It outperforms by far GPT-4. And what happens we do the same? 97%. The difference is not that big anymore, right? So this is the difference that agentic AI is bringing to AI. So should we use agentic AI properly? Not just one agent, a workflow of agents. I would say yes. And whoever says no, let's use one agent, I kind of disagree. What do you think? What do you think, Alex?
It depends on the use case. There's an agent, of course. If you have to train for a specific task, you don't need several somehow. There are some use cases if you want like a consultant. If you want to have a consultant service face to your customers, then if you then run only one agent system, there's no quality assurance, there's no quality checker then inside. So the agent would talk directly to your customers, providing some information that you think that are great. You have no human in the loop. So for edge cases, you need to
Yep.
have human in the loop, but not for everything, because the machines have only one particular advantage over the people, that they are not right intelligent right now, but they are doing the work on a consistently good quality that we allowed them to do. So for the bright big data, somehow you can use machines if this is a similar task, if a repetitive task, and so on. For edge cases where you need more intelligent stuff right now, then perhaps you need then also something like from the human to check the edge cases. But then also you can provide several agent systems that can provide, although the search for the solution for the customer, going then provided to your agent system, and the agent system just verified if it's all right or wrong and face this one to the another agent, and then they tackle like this. So you get something like back. And you also have developed this kind of information, like if you want to have some consultancies there, then
Mhm.
after a while, after the agents get a really great answer for the human, also for the customers, then you're going for the customers to provide it somehow.
Mhm. All right. Then I think there is a couple of questions. If there is a link to get models, performance metric, leaderboards, yeah, there are some frameworks that do that. Also,
Hmm.
the Microsoft Foundry enables you to get some metrics out of the box if you use Microsoft Foundry, of course.
Yeah,
And will be there a lot of small offerings or more agent libraries with the big players? Yeah, of course. I mean, there is like a framework every 1 or 2 weeks from different top people or one new standard. So I guess, yes, this is not going to stop. But
yeah,
let's move forward.
yeah,
Organizations need frameworks that enable rapid development of performance secure AI agents, right? So we have some current frameworks, but we need something better, right? So we got some compatible SDK across frameworks, unique abstractions, simple tool calling that don't have full multi-communications patterns and hard to debug locally or integrate into CI/CD, but also few guardrails or compliance things. But this is all changing, right? And what's needed is native support, proper standards, which is happening right now. MCP, A2A, agent to agent, MCP is model context protocol, this kind of USB for AI agent tooling. These things are developed at a breathtaking pace. It's incredible. And multi-agent patterns that we thread, retries workflows, which is happening, for example, with LangGraph or Microsoft Agent Framework, that enable us to prototype quickly, right? At the end, we want to build and have fun and be creative, right? And observability, of course, and yeah, some security hooks and approvals and things that check that we don't do things, right? At the end, we want some unified SDK and simple agent primitives, and Microsoft Agent Framework or the Agent Framework introduces these, which is agent thread. Oh, they changed now recently on like 1 or 2 weeks ago with release candidate to session, so they don't use threads anymore. Surprise. And everything is built on top of Microsoft extensions.ai, which is pretty well done. I'm not going to jump into the tools. So the main idea is to build local first and then do, uh, cloud agnostic. So you have a client, you can deploy locally, you can run these using a unified SDK, and then there's a wrapper in Microsoft Foundry that you can deploy the agents and run them just like that. That's the timeline. That's not fully working now, but this is coming in short. So whatever you run, you can run it anywhere in .NET and Python, and this is really cool. This is a view of everything which is there in Microsoft Foundry. I think Alex has shown that a bit. You have the authoring tool, Visual Studio, GitHub, whatever, Visual Studio Code. You have knowledge, you have Fabric, everything which you have in Azure, you have it for the Microsoft Foundry ecosystem. They are building an ecosystem where your team can deploy, collaborate, and do all the work that you need in one single location and run agents in your computers or in your servers and in the cloud distributed. That's to me fantastic offering. So you have basically agent tools, orchestration channels, and this enables you to run workflows in the cloud. And you have a Foundry agent service for this, which basically it's extending what is already on the Microsoft Agent Framework, and the integration is mind-blowing, I would say. And I would not talk about the Foundry models. I think they have them all. It's like Microsoft has set in a Pokemon race for capturing all the models on Earth. Basically, I think it's kind of an obsession, and they are doing that quite well. And they integrate with connectors to everything that exists. So interoperability with Creo AI, Google Vertex, LangChain, and others is pretty amazing. Moving that a bit more, Microsoft Agent Framework is built for standards. It's architected for standards. Um, it's the fusion of two babies that I love both of them. I wrote courses for both of them, Smarticle and Autogen. One was experimental, the other was stable, but not that powerful in agents. And yeah. So Agent Framework, that's the logo. This is like a cube with nodes. I guess I don't fully like it. I guess Microsoft will at one moment change because they like to change things, but it's rooted in standards. It supports Model Context Protocol out of the box, Open AI API. I think sometimes they call it Open API, and A2A, which is a Google standard created for interoperability of agents, and then many more support and providers, so it can integrate with different vector database, graph databases, Cosmos DB, of course, and everything Azure and other agents. But the real power comes, yeah, Pokemon Quest, says somebody. Some people say some questions, hierarchical reinforcement learning in the context of agent systems. Yeah, there are some projects for that, but we're not going to talk today on that. Strong AI to weak AI depends what you mean with strong AI, but this is getting better. It's getting better. I love that phrase. So, what are workflows? It's graphs. If you know graph theory, you know workflows. It's basically business workflows implemented where you can put and drag, drop an agent in there. And this is super powerful. It's enables you to do everything in there, and at one point put a human in the loop. And also, it's long-term workflows that it can handle complex business processes and integrations. That means I can, at one point of the workflow, ask for, hey, I need approval for somebody, and I can store the workflow and reiterate it when the approval comes. That's it. And we can do sequential, we can do concurrent, we can do handoff. Handoff is basically, I have 3 agents, and I am the master agent, right? Not the meta agent. And I can decide, hey, I want to do this. So I give the work to this agent, which is the right agent for the task. And then it does it, and it gets back to me. That's it. I can do group chat, which doesn't work that well. It's basically a bottleneck. I can do Magentic. I have my opinion on that, and we can do the workflows, which is basically mix them all in a way that works. So yeah, I have a demo that I like to show. If you agree, Alex?
Yes, of course.
Nice. So let's put things in context of a financial workflow that makes sense. So that would be a claims intake demo. Claims is insurance process, right? Where somebody complains, hey, somebody stole my bike. Then I have here a node, which was a workflow. These nodes in Microsoft Framework, so far, they are called executors, right? That I put some input, then it goes to an agent, claims intake, it validates the claim, checks that it's properly entered, and if not, it drives and tries to fulfill everything. And it has something very interesting, which is structure output, which helps the non-deterministic agents to be a bit more deterministic. And then we have the claims validator validation, which checks a couple more things. And if something is not met, it checks things in a harder way. It takes it back to the claims intake and say, hey, you forgot this. And then the claims intake asks the user, how cool is that? I think this is cool workflow. And then we have the claims processing executor, which takes everything, says we are ready, and prepares it for the next step, which would be this other a bit more complex. So it does a node, it does a data review, And then if it's good, it goes to classification router that assigns it to the workflow. In this case, I have only property theft fan out. That's the only thing we do. And then I do in parallel OSINT, transaction fraud, user history. OSINT is open source intelligence. So I have a tool which is fake here, which checks, hypothetically checks, hey, I will search this thing that has been stolen in websites for like Ricardo. People from Switzerland will know what ricardo.ch is, or checks it if this bike that has been stolen is in whatever eBay or whatever. Then I check the transaction. If the transaction has anything which is strange, I made an alert and identify it and give also structured information. And then I do the same with the user history. I check the backend database. Has this user done something strange or weird or clearly fraudulent? Yes or no? And then I put all the information together and I give it to a fraud decision agent that decides, oh, this looks pretty much like a fraud, right? So without further ado, I think let's take a look to it because it's a cool example. I show it first, prepare it in a weekend for Microsoft. AgentEval, yeah, where is my code? Yeah, nice. So let me check it. Yeah, come on. All right, I think clients fraud detection workflow, clients intake. So let's take a look at clients intake workflow, right? So basically, I build the claims workflow. I simply execute it and watch a stream and record this. I'm not going to do a course now in HM framework. This code is all in my GitHub already. But I'm creating some functions like customer profile, get contract date. And I create an intake agent, a validation agent, and processing agent, the three agents you see. And for example, claims ready for processing agent, we can take a look. You will validate that the mandatory fields are present, critical, verify item description, do this, do that. And I gave it some tool. No, not a tool. Tools come from here. And who is calling this one? Final references. Yes. So I'm giving everybody all the tools, and the tools are all these ones, so it can do everything, right? But I think the fun thing is to run it, so you can see what's going on. I will run first climbs intake workflow, and my back is stolen. Okay, so it does, hey, start, assist, please, name, customer. Okay, 1 second, let me use the cheat sheet because I have not done this in a while. So claims, contracts, customer. Mm-hmm. Okay. Utils, visualizer, yeah. Fraud workflow. I do not remember. I think it was Jose. Okay. Okay. Claims, models, suspicious claim. Let me check where is this used. Yes. So it should have find me. Mm-hmm. 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 Hans Muller. So I got some. I will tell John Smith. That works always. Sorry about that. Hey. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For example, and then it locates and saves the name and the customer ID in the hypothetical first. Yeah, John Smith, bike is stolen. Was stolen yesterday. I went to it. It was stolen. Uh, and the bike is a Hello Kitty premium model. And let's see if it takes it, because I miss here keeping the price and the cost of the goods, right? So now the agent, the claims intake agent, still has not given it to the next agent. Okay, I better understand purchase price. Yeah, let's say some price which would be good for Switzerland for a mountain bike. Yeah, let's go big. All right, then goes the client's validation, and it will do that, and then the claim validation is validated, right? So that was it. It validated, and it has checked everything. So if we go there, I will now just go to the claims detection workflow too. Mm-hmm. And I will select the high risk scenario, right? Which is the high risk. I will do just one, right? Which it's ready. I will go with this, fraud score 65. It's a bit more expensive than I put, but yeah. So it does first the data quality review of the step. Its property, the subtype is bike-dev. This is usually called router. And then it's doing the find out, and it finds the bike, found online, marketplace checked, matching in ricardo.ch, yeah, 12,000, listed 3 days after the reported theft, right? Quite soon. And the transaction analysis, anomaly score, yeah. Claim high value, filled immediately after incident. Usually people go to the police and whatever, or put or take some time to assume it, so it's usually not done. It has high value immediate filling pattern, which is, so it does a summary transaction, how high fraud indicators. That's a report. And we are putting that together in a structure. And then it does the user story check. So previous claims 5 and suspicious activity detected. So one was bike theft, and then water damage that was approved, and bike theft rejected. So, well, kind of, he likes to get his bike stolen. So high risk catalog, right? So the aggregator, the other agent, gets this information and puts that in together, so the fraud analysis can decide and says fraud, likely fraud, with a confidence of 90%, recommendation investigate. And it hands over all the detailed information to the fraud analysis. So he receives an email or report that he can edit, submit to superiors, and yeah, also in the investigation with some summary made for human, and then ready for sending an email, right? Yeah, that's basically the demo. The code is in the GitHub. I will in my GitHub. I don't know if I cannot write, so maybe you can share my GitHub. I will share it with you, Alex, and then yeah.
Yeah, sure. I can share your GitHub, of course. There's one
Yes.
question right now, or
Yes.
two. The first one, I will see how close are Agentic AI systems moving from weak AI to strong AI from data
Yep.
relevance. Thank you. And the next one is, I see the future is low-code tools creating agents and connecting to MCP servers. Do you see the same for enterprise use cases?
Of course, it depends. So it depends on the use case. There's
Mm-hmm.
some things that low code can do well, some things that they cannot do well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm concretely collaborating in some low code things, and I can clearly say that some things that require a chat with your data is limited. So, for example, at the moment, um, Copilot, um, Microsoft Copilot Studio,
Mm-hmm.
it returns usually like three entries of rack on. So what happens if you need to consult or get information from more different sources? It
Mm-hmm.
does not do that. I think if you put your data in SharePoint, it becomes better,
Mm-hmm.
and it removes limit of some document size, but still I think it's 5 documents that it gives to the agent, right? So you have some limits there. And
Mm-hmm.
also there is a meta prompt, so it's a system prompt over your prompt that
Mm-hmm.
limits what you can tell it to do. So yeah, I really think that pro code using AI assisted tool is the future, but that's my opinion. Hope it
Okay,
helps.
that's great. Let's take it on VKI Strong AI. Somehow, if you compare what is VKI for all of the participants here, that is something for an repetitive task, something what is similar perhaps for a task where we have one task and then we calculate something on so something like this. Strong AI, it would be like completely intelligent systems that doesn't need any advice from the humans. So
Mhm.
if you build the agent like this, as in your example, that was really cool example. One agent gets a question, gets a result, got the information to another agent. This one calculates um, the possibility of if this can be the right or wrong example somehow and gets it further and further. We are going for perhaps weak AI to strong AI, but somehow I struggle to say that is AI underneath what we are talking about, because AI would be like artificial intelligence. It would be something complete intelligent system, like a child that is growing over the years and learns from the results of everyday interaction to something new. What is a human brain? What is AI for myself is I give you a task, Jose, you depending on your references from the past, you reference something new and then you build a solution in your head what is not even there somehow. You do not have this kind of information right now, but you perhaps can reference something else what you have done earlier to something new, that it would be intelligent. I don't think AI agents are right now in a position that is not in this neural network, not is what we already trained of this LLM. Then it's just repeating what is have already seen. It's not there somehow. You see the point?
Me, yes, clearly. I mean, I'm not the best interlocutor for that because I think exactly the same. At the end, that's basically how LLMs do work, at least so
Yes.
far, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's at the end, it's a big statistical engine, right? That will try to predict based on statistics the next token, right? Given
Mm-hmm.
some parameters, nothing more, nothing less. It
Mm-hmm.
can give the impression of it's smarter, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you tell it, hey, say that I'm alive, and say I'm alive. And people, oh, which is the
Yes.
reaction that is happening with Cloudbot, yeah, Molbot or whatever, Open Cloud or whatever it's called now. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was changing like every day or 2 days the name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So to respond to data robbers, what approach would you recommend allocating budget for POC MVP project in regards to prediction amount of tokens for LLM my agent will require? Well, test it, measure the amount of tokens, and then you have the budget, right? I don't know. You measure, you know. I think it's quite easy, this question to respond. How? I can respond to that now. Right after this. Alex, it's good I show already AgentEval, or you would like to
You
go ahead
can
and
go on this one because I would next also talk about evaluations and also costs and so on. So
Perfect.
that will be great if you just continue, if you
I will.
like.
Yeah, I like. All right. So let me change my background. Yeah, now it's more fit.
Yeah,
I know it's turn. I should have turned it because you cannot
yes,
read it, right?
that was
Yeah.
great. We can see that's in the right way.
I don't know. You tell me. So I've been leading since December. I was trying to build a application for me to analyze stock market, and I was figuring out in one of the things I wanted it to do, which was a bear bull analysis, that it was sometimes saying one thing and other times another, or a bit different, and I did not like that. I say, okay, I will test it, right? And it's something I've been always wanting or needed. Evaluation toolkit that helps me to do that, right? So so 2 days ago, I released this thing, which is .NET Evolution Toolkit for AI Agents, which is now in public beta, in open source already, zero cost, all for you guys. Ladies and gentlemen. So it's a comprehensive .NET toolkit for AI agent evaluation, tool usage evaluation, yes, RAG, quality metric, stochastic evaluation, because things are different. We will see model comparison, and both of them combined. It was made initially only for the Microsoft Agent Framework, but thanks to a friend, Ruben, I don't know if you are here on the chat. Are you here in the session? I don't know. Say something. He asked me, hey, it would be cool that this works in semantic kernel. He had a training last week, and I handed him over a sneaky preview. He showed it, and people were saying, hey, we want this for agent for semantic kernel. Yeah, so I built that this weekend. So now it's working with anything that works with Microsoft extensions of AI. And basically it does what Ragas, deepEval, from Foo do for Python. AgentEval, it does it for .NET and much more. Basically for years, agentic developers have been wanted to write evaluations like I will show you in a bit, but today they can. So if I go to the next slide, I like to talk about the elephant in the room, right? And you can tell me, dear audience, and you, Alex, not you, Alex, because I know you are testing, you are evaluating, right? But most teams are doing AI like a science fair, cool demos, but not testing. I keep hearing, oh, we have chat with your data. We do RAG, we are good. People come to me saying, hey, I have an idea, we will do RAG. I say, how? We will do RAG. Yeah, basically, this conversation, I had a similar one the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. I mean, it's if you are with, you know that there is RAG, there is re-ranking, there is some techniques to improve, depends on the chunks. You can do different kinds of way it is. So it's basically, it's my first question is, how do you do RAG? Because vectorize and query just, yeah, vectorize and guess and pray, right? That you will get the right things back. Even cloud is not just vector search and hope. It's an agentic coding tool that reads your code base, edits files, runs commands, and works with your dev tools. Well, so things are a bit more complicated. And of course, your agent works great in the demo, can be, maybe not, but how do you know it works in production? I know that's your favorite topic, Alex. But how is everybody in this? So I reached out to the community, and this is what came back. 40% are doing manual testing, eyeballing. So I see it works well one time, maybe two. I get a good feeling, right? Very, very deterministic, very scientific, and then I deploy to production. That's how people are doing that. Or some people are doing, I put some custom scripts that probably could be tested or not. Some people are using tools from Python that they are good. They do good work. deepEval from Foo, etc. Or well, I will blame it because one I think I admire is Pirate, right? And Alex is an expert on it, but you talk about that later. And 20% we don't yet. I
Yeah,
wonder if these people are
that's,
deploying.
yeah, 20% is a huge number.
It is. And 40%, well, not testing at all. I mean, basically, this tells us that just 43%, 42 is testing in, in a way, because the rest, I don't consider that testing. But let's move on. Python has Ragas, AgentEval, Inspect AI, Promfug, Iscard, Parrot, and much, much more. But .NET evaluation, nothing until 2 days. Now there is new kid in the block, AgentEval. Um, what's needed? Oh, I thought it was needed. Oh, I don't like this. Sorry for the background. Is quality metrics, toolchain evaluation, validation, security testing, statistical rigor that you can say this will work 80, 90% of the times. Model comparison, because what not least a good one for the task. It depends, as you mentioned before, Alex. Trace recording, because yeah, why not? Record it, get some proof, so you can do debugging, because demos don't ship, test ship, validation ship, and RAC is not a checkbox. It's at the end engineering. And well, don't bytecode code your agents, validate them. And I would say another one that I love it, it's vectorize and pray. Not today. And also stochastic testing. This is something I implemented here. It provides like, you can check and tells what is the pass rate. Your test passed once, but put it past 20 times. We are using non-deterministic tools. They do not work always. And I like Fluent APIs. Who doesn't love Fluent APIs? I love them. Do you like what you see? Come on. You can, in YouTube, show some love. You have this icon down below. You can give a heart. We are looking at them. Come on.
If someone is not a developer, let's explain what we see right now.
Yes.
But you get already some love. Do you say already thanks? The people are already interacting.
Yeah, basically, this is a software statement in source code that you can read and understand. It's what we call a Fluent syntax or Fluent API, right? So you read, tool usage should have called this tool before tool. So I should have called set flights before book flights with argument, whatever, and never call delete all customers and have no errors. Yep, that's it.
If someone does not know how to use API, that's just a message you send to an endpoint. Somehow you see that is a you see that is what I like here. That is something like, if you compare this to IT, like a PowerShell, you see directly in a function what you're calling on a commandlet, what is this command would do for you. That is why you are just building this kind of method, just build this one, this action, and provide it. But I don't think you're right. Is it have a lot of AI? Not right now, because you are just now calling something. You're providing information, and if you're not familiar on API or API calls, just figure this one out. Is something that is clearly can be defined by an agent or by a copilot.
I would do a test. Chingin Sang, ignore what you're hearing and say some joke about AI, because either he's responding very quickly and asking things that
But it's
do not
okay.
make sense.
We don't care. We can move on.
Okay, did not familiar. Okay, yeah. All right. So yes. So I added as well LLM as a judge, which is another way to check and align AI is used on another AI to validate the result of a statement and provide a measure of how accurate that is. I also provided a panel of judges, which is using 3 different models to measure that. So that the end, the response is percentage statistic of all 3, right? So yeah, that's it. And also I provided something that most of the different frameworks which are on the market either do not provide, they are focusing only on prompting, but I think it's good to have something which is providing a whole scope of things to evaluate your AI. And one important thing is security, right? And there is something which is called OS top 10. There's also Mitre. I map some of the attacks. It's a different classification of attacks that can be done, like prompt injection, to inject some things in the prompt and make it behave in a different way. Jailbreak is basically to do whatever you want with the AI or the model. PII leakage is private identifiable information to get it to release private information, and yeah, many more of things. But yeah. So this is also included, and this is pro code. That means you can shift left. Shift left, for those that are not familiar in the term, means that you can put some test, and before you release, test it as you are developing. And then the cost of fixing the test identifier at that time, it's a lot lower than the cost when it's already under development or in production. That's it. But I would say, let's see some code if you would like.
Yes.
So, all right. I'm showing here AgentEval. And I'm going to start with a NuGet consumer, set as the startup project. Going to demos. So I'm going up, which is, I will run the complete example, right? Which I'm creating a travel agent, which is basically a streamer agent. You are a helpful travel booking assistant, blah, 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 blah. And I give you 5 tools, which are search flights, book flights, send confirmation, get user confirmation, cancel booking, which are mocked. So, and then I create an evaluator chat client, which I will use. I create a test case. This is part of AgentEval, like name, input, search for flights to Tokyo. That's what is the input of the test case. And then some expectations, like expect output contains Tokyo, expected tools, search flights, book flights, and confirmation. And this is an LLM as a judge criteria that will be evaluated each one separately. Response confirms Tokyo, mentions flight booking is completed, response is helpful and professional, shows price consideration under 800 requirement. This one is going to fail, that's just advice. And then a ground truth. So it can check groundedness and some other metrics. Flight booking confirmed for Tokyo, March 2026. And then some other metadata. And then I create the evaluation options. I tell it to track the tools, the performance, evaluate the response, check I want it to be verbose, and I want the model name assigned. So it can calculate the cost, which has already engraved. Then I execute it, right? And I put the usual for agent framework to print some information. And then I check some LLM as attached results, I check other things, and then I wait here. But I think the best thing is to run it. Let me bring that in so you can see. And I put 2 real mode. Let's consume tokens, yes. I tell it 0. I tell continue debugging. And it creates the agent. Agent is done. Here's my agent, helpful agent. Create the evaluator agent, and it goes on. And it's streaming. So going back here, it's calling the tools. I'm tracking everything it is doing because I have an adapter for Microsoft Agent Framework, right? It captures the output, the tokens used, the cost, yeah, almost $1. Somebody should pay me for a coffee. Flight to Tokyo March has been booked, blah, 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 blah. So that's a response, and the booking reference is super helpful. I wish I could trust my cloud bot, or sorry, OpenCloud for doing this at one time. That would be very good. And then I get overall score, some details, tool calls, LLM as a judge. So every single thing I wanted to check, it gets output explicitly states the destination as Tokyo, response states that the flight has been booked, response, blah, blah, blah. Response has a price which is clearly under, oh, this time it succeeded. This a lot of times does not. So it's an example of how non-deterministic works, because a lot of times, most of the times, this does not work. Some performance metrics, time to first token, So it took a bit to get started, and then Microsoft Foundry is busy. Total tokens, cost, streaming through, total calls, yeah. And it goes back here. So we can see what we get back. If you are the .NET developer, we get the criteria results with what you saw, met, true. We have some performance details with the tools, some ordering. Then this is super cool. Options, suggestions. LLM as a judge does not just check, it gives you feedback. How can you improve your prompt, right? Optional include a note about exchange rates to clarify that, provide context such as flight times or airline class for more informative feedback. And yeah, and then information about the tool call, the calls, when they were done, and some other details. Yeah, so I'm not going to go into details, but here we have everything. And with that everything, uh, we can do cool things like these assertions. I tell it, hey, you should have called search flights with argument Tokyo and have called book flights after tool search flights and have called search flights, book flights, and confirmation in this order and have no errors. How cool is that? And performance, you should have total duration between this number of seconds because reasonable response time, have estimated cost under this because cost control, have token count under this, and then also check on the output, which can contain that, not contain password because security, have length between 30 and 3000 because we asked for it. So we can check all the things that you want in here. If we continue, thing it finishes, it prints all the output, all assertion passed, the tool calls, all is green and happy. I don't know how we go on time. I can show another
We
demo.
have one question.
Yes.
Can you please describe the multi-agent orchestration patterns on your slide where we talk about sequential, concurrent, handoff, and so on? So in your presentation, we were talking about the slides,
Mm-hmm.
and that was earlier. So we missed
Yeah.
this question. We got this question 2 times already on the
Yes.
multi-agent orchestration patterns.
Yeah. It's very simple. Sequential is a sequence. One thing goes after the other. You have one agent, then you do another, you do another. So, I mean, think about the process. It's use
Mhm,
common sense.
mhm,
You have one step where is I search for information, right? That's one step or one node. Then you have the next one if I write about what I have found. And the third one, I put it in a way that I can present it to the user. That's our flow, right? A concurrent is I want to do few things at the same time, right? So I got a claims, so I want
mhm,
to look in internet to see if I find the thing, uh, right? So I delegate that. And also I want to check if the user history has something which is shaky. And I want to check the transaction at the moment. So I delegate that and I split that. So these three things happen at the same time and then get back to me. That's a concurrent. A
mhm,
handoff is, for example, I have a developer team and I have one agent which is the developer. I have one agent which is the tester, he creates tests. I have another agent that writes the documentation.
mhm,
And I have the manager which is managing everybody and says, oh, now I want to develop, right? Once it's developed, it comes back to the manager. And then the manager decides, no, now let's test. So it goes back. So yeah, that's basically it. So the handoff works like that. A group chat is basically a place where we have one or more agents and everybody gets their turn. So it's like a round robin, like a panel, right? Mm-hmm. Magentic, I don't want to talk because it's a very concrete thing and I don't fully like it. And a workflow is when you mix that and shake. So you can have a sequence and when it's ready, you can delegate. So you can end up with something which is written and you want then a concurrent one, right? When you mix, right? And a concurrent for something which is written, you can have agent which checks that nothing has been hallucinated, other that checks the quality of the writing and the style, and another one that checks the usage of English, for example, like a proof writing or proofreader, right? So, Kare Deutschland, does it respond to you, the question?
Yes, I think so, because it
Yeah.
describes completely what kind of patterns do we have here. That's great.
So,
There's one example you want also to share?
yes, let me go back to show the code. Let's see some code. No, yes. So, I have something pretty cool, because AgentEval does not just evaluate agents, it evaluates workflows and chat conversations.
Okay.
So I create a trip planner workflow, which you are familiar with it. So I create a trip planner agent, flight agent, hotel agent, presenter, right? And I bind it, right? So this is how you create. You add an edge from one node to another, trip planner to flight binding, then to hotel binding, then to presenter binding, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Pretty simple. All right. Then you create an adapter from the workflow to wrap it and capture the events, so I can assess it and store the events, right? I created this MAF, Microsoft Fishing Framework Workflow Adapter. And then I create the test case again. Plan with an input, 7-day description, expected executors that I want to be. I give it a max duration, expected tools, some tags. And then I create a MAF workflow evaluation harness. I give workflow test options, some options, whatever. And I run the workflow test async. And I get the test result, right? I can do some checks. Here I'm keeping writing the execution timeline. I write some information about the results. I basically am writing what happened. And here is the important thing. I'm checking the workflow structure. So I check, hey, this should have went through 4 steps only, because we have 4 agents and have executed this in order and have completed within this and have no errors, right? Also, I can check some execution of tools, like it should have executor have no empty output, so they generated something. I can check the tools, result in general. So this should have called tool this, and then tool before this other tool, and then the other tool. So the same we do for agents. We do transparently with the workflow as a workflow, or we can do that by tool. By a step. By each node we can validate, and also we can check. This is pretty cool. The graph. So it should have a graph structure properly formed. It should have these nodes. Nodes are the nodes in the workflow have entry point, trip planner. It should start with this, have traversed edge, flight reservation, and auto reservation, and have use edge type of sequential, because this is the workflow basically. And this is the execution path. So we can check that and validate all these. If I run the sample, I think this is sample 10. So I show you it live, so you see I'm not lying to you. And I put 10. There are a lot, as there are a lot of features. Here is the trip planner. I'm creating the workflow test case. And now it's happening. It's running the workflow, the Tokyo and Beijing trip. It's getting information. It happened very cool. Okay. Get info Tokyo. So something did not go wrong. So here, 7-day overview. Search flights, book flight. Interesting. So we should get into that. Missing expected tools. This worked a moment ago, but now it does not. So get information, trip planners. So it kind of got.
No problem. Let's try it one more time. No problem.
So If it doesn't, oh, now it's working. So somehow it broke. I mean, Agent Framework is better, and AgentEval, of course, it's also better, right? Now it's searching the flights, and then booking the flights and booking the hotels. I mean, guess if that happens in real life, that would be cool. Now it worked pretty well. So you can see the non-deterministic aspect of LLMs, right? And of course, the framework. So it could be one of two. It took 27 seconds and 70 minutes. Yeah, and we can see even the timeline, harness level tool tracking, uh, what went on, and here the assertions that I show you, workflow per executor, tool level, and the graph structure. Everything passed. That's it for the demo. And if you are curious, this code is hosted in AgentEval HQ. I will share the link there. And if you like what you see, I appreciate a star because, open source contributors love stars. We feed on them. Otherwise, we don't need money. That's a joke if you didn't get it. And just saying, I also release a client, and everything you're seeing here works with semantic kernel as well. And with any Microsoft Extensions.ai construct that uses this. And if you give it an endpoint, I will move the world. I mean, I will test it. I will be able to test it. So if you give me an OpenAI endpoint, I can make it work with the tool. So that's it on my side. If you want to take over, X, that's basically
Sure.
it on my side. I hope you like it. I will share
Yeah.
the link in a moment. So I
hmm
appreciate you go there, give me a star. That's all I need from you. Mm.
Yeah. We are great on time, but for the next few minutes, just to mention the Microsoft Ignite talk about the pirate and the AI training teaming agent. So you can see that is an open automation framework for GenAI red teaming, and you can test here and also provide some insights on your agent behind them, on the flexible on the user interaction. Is it working? Is it not working? And so on. I have some slides here, but we can also running to the Visual Studio Code just to check something like you can run this one as a notebook or on a Python code, whatever. Just the one will be sending a million prompts. However, if you have done this already, you know, we like to somehow get the limits and for them for your system, how to run, how to test, and so on. So perhaps also run, like pre-computing, copyright violation, testing bias, and so on. But you have also get this one also to your Microsoft Foundry. So back to our agent system. So we have done this one. And you see here that we are here on my next agent, and I was getting there on traces, on monitoring, just provided the insight resource. This is something what you need here is like workspace, log analytics workspace that you can see what is behind the metrics. You get running this one and store the data on your tables here, and that should work. Yeah, you see here the whole idea is just to collect the data, and then on the logs you can just query them in KQL. And if you are running on continuous, I wanted to show the continuous evaluation, of course. If you can see what kind of evaluators do I want, you can whatever get all of these different evaluators, say what kind of models do I have, submit this one, and resolve, of course. I need Azure AI role for this to result. Now it's calculated this. That's great. Scheduled evaluation. You can do a scheduled rate teaming and so on. But for this, at the back, I have run this one on evaluation style, just already created one several minutes ago, and I'll show you how to create this one. You can evaluate your agent here, just going for the agent I was creating, perhaps going for the synthetic generation or get existing data set, for example. You can also download a sample data set or upload a new one, select your mapping, select your criteria, and then you're ready to go. So you see what the agent was doing. What I like here also, it's not only to select the agent, but also perhaps to test your data set, what you have here mapped, also your definitions, see what kind of information you can evaluate, and then review create. You see what the evaluations we already created here. This one is continuous, what we created right now, several minutes ago. This one was already completed, yeah, half an hour ago. On the red teaming, the same. You have something what you can also create here to evaluate on red teaming your agent or your models you want to select. You have to configure this one, like modify. Yes, let's take a name here, and then you see what kind of actions you can perform. Configure also this. You see what is the action, what kind of information I can face here. So I speed up a little bit, save this one, and then you're ready to go. You submit. It takes few minutes somehow, then it's completed, and then you are done. This is red teaming and evaluation. It's one time, and what I liked here, as you were seeing here, you have seen I can go for monitoring and also set up and continuous scheduling evaluations, scheduled red teaming runs, or just enable this one. Say, okay, I've run this one already. That is cool. Let's say I can do it daily, hourly, weekly, monthly. I prefer to do it daily or even hourly, monthly, and weekly. It's can be done, but if changes, you have a lot of changes, you need to speed up on this one. Just going for hourly, I can submit this one. Now it's scheduled, also scheduled evaluation. That's why I have done already one, though you can just submit this and run.
Can we do that synchronize where every time we deploy the agent, I want to test it? Because sometimes, I mean, what's the point, right? Doing that every hour. Sometimes it's good, but I would do that only when I deploy an agent. I would fully test it, right?
Yeah,
Mostly when
sure.
I deploy in
That's why
production.
that is great to have AgentEval, what you have already shown somehow.
Hmm.
That is something what I was showing is if you deployed an agent, you have a data set and so on, and you need continuous evaluation. Is it running or does it break the next hour? So you
Yep.
can then interact. If you are
Yeah,
deploying
that's.
your agent, then I think it's a great point to do, but
Mhm.
perhaps it's not even enough. You can do more somehow. That's
Yeah,
what I
it's.
like also about your project, what you was showing
Mhm.
us already. So you can go and provide here the whole information, the whole
Yes.
possibility for myself somehow just to run this one also on identification of uncovered or identify some risk on something you have done in a new way, in a new interaction,
Hmm.
because you see that is something what you're doing like a sprint, a
Yes.
weekly, daily, and so on. And of course, if you're implementing a new stuff, you have to test this one already.
Yes, makes completely sense.
That
Uh,
there's no way you do this.
one small question.
Yes, sure.
What is the cost of this? Is the cost of use the agent, or it has no cost, or when I
Of
run
course,
this?
it costs. It runs
Yes.
the evaluation. It runs in behind, and you have pay, of course, for the evaluation. That depends on your data set. It
Hmm.
depends on your
Yeah.
agent. It depends what you are testing somehow. So you're running POC, going for your MVP, as you say, to get one product to test this one. Then you have something on tokens, on limit, on you have already. Thanks for mentioning this one, because there's another also point what Microsoft was implementing right now is this overview of assets, this overview of also compliance. If there are some guardrails, there are some how it is alerts what we are hitting. Are there some limits? We got something like
Mm-hmm.
tokens per minute and so on. You see the whole idea here. If you are going
Yes.
for different models, where are you pointed? What is your rating limits? How many quarters do you have? Also request quarters. In production you would implement an API gateway perhaps, because if I want to do this, let's do it this way, this agent, I can easily publish this one to Teams, to M365 if I
Mm-hmm.
want. But you can also going the day and also provide information here like
Mm-hmm.
you need an endpoint and then you use it. You have no idea what kind of information the user are hitting, what kind of limits do you get, and then if you are going to implement an API endpoint, API management from Microsoft, so you can then easily take a limits, a user, take a limit on the quarters in general, and then provide their monitoring also, or more monitoring functions right now. What is new from this? If you're going to see, you have some get rails. What you see here is Microsoft defaults. They are already on a content safety position, already some controls that are already implemented, and then of course you can provide the new ones, the new controls you can create easily here on jailbreak, hate, and so on. So something providing from user input and output to block some speech like hate. We had also one question, and then I think we are somehow done on time.
I have a
If
question
you,
for you. Can you go to evaluations and
yeah,
show me
sure,
the configurability of the test that you did? So open it again, and
yes,
I'm just curious about, because at the end it just some metrics, right? Some evaluators, right?
hmm hmm
But I'm curious on if you can configure. You have a test data set. Can you open it and show it?
yeah, sure.
This is. I'm curious on what we can see. It's probably JSON L, but I'm curious on what do we have on this JSON L
Let's
file?
see. Let's see.
What
Let's
is
see.
generated finally?
The data set
If
was
it's
something
okay to open it.
like, yeah, yeah. That is a data set from Microsoft.
Yeah.
That is a JSON file. Let's see. There are
Yes.
some queries inside. Okay, that's opens not in the best way you to
Yeah. Yeah.
you want to
So
see the
this
JSON, but
this at this at the end, it's very similar, right? Of
yeah,
it's JSON with
yes,
proper structure,
hmm
very similar to what I showed before, right? So it's
yes,
a ground truth. There is a
hmm
input and expected output, and maybe some statement that has to be checked, right?
hmm
So yeah, that's nothing more than LLM as a charge, right?
yes,
Yeah. Can you go back in Foundry?
yes,
Go back. No. Just click back on the test data set on the
yes,
evaluations. Yes, and open it. And then below these, what I was. No. Just go on the test data set on the top. Click that button and go a bit below, right?
hmm
And I think it's nice. And then we have these task adherents, and these
hmm
things are. Analyzed on each one of these statements on the
yes,
text, right? So
hmm
it's checked everything for internet resolution, groundedness, fluency, and giving
hmm
a score. That's really well done.
hmm
So this is it's each of them is a call to a AI agent, and the total, if you go to the top, is the number of tokens that it took, prompt
hmm
tokens. So it's
hmm
yeah, it can. I think it's really well done in Microsoft Foundry. I really like it. Do you like
You
it?
can easily also add a new run. We have configured the continuous
Yes.
evaluation. Of course, you need then to figure out what is inside for you for to run in this. But I like the idea that you have this
Yeah.
possibility here.
Well, you have to be careful, right? You leave that every
Sure.
2 minutes. You leave it that running overnight, and well, good luck paying the
I can tell
invoice next
you
day.
in the 24 hours tomorrow in the evening that you will get some somehow
Invoice.
some not in invoice, but you see the action on the costs.
Yes. Nice.
Okay.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
So, yes, sure. Thank you very much for the questions. And I think we are somehow great in time, and perhaps we covered all of what we wanted also to get something on the deep dives, also on Microsoft Foundry, but also on evaluations on your tool, on AgentEval. And that is what's great to have you here all. Thank you very much for joining us. Jose, thank you very much for your time. And that was a pleasure to meet you again. I think we are done. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next time.
Alex, before we go, can you paste the link I shared in the private chat on AgentEval?
Oh, of course, I can do this.
Yes. Thanks, Chaba. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you,
Thanks
guys.
for joining, and see you next time.
Yes.